Over the past month, we have laid out many of the ways that college is failing American students and their parents and the government and our society more broadly. Every year it costs far more to go to college than it did in the previous generation. Those costs are rising far faster than inflation. Most students need tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans to go to college. And yet what they learn there is not impressive. The classes themselves are teaching less than ever, unless it's extremist political ideology. But even if college is failing, most students feel they have no choice but to go. There just aren't options. Some people are working assiduously to change that. Isaac Morehouse is the founder and CEO of Praxis. It's a startup that promotes apprenticeships as alternatives to college degrees, and he joins us now. Isaac, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me here.
This is a tough pitch. We spent the last month working on this and talking to a lot of people who go to college and looking at it from all angles. And one thing you hear from almost everyone who's in college or planning to go is that I know it's too expensive, and I know I'm not going to learn much, and there are other downsides, but I don't have a choice. So how do you make the pitch to sort of high aptitude, middle class kids who could go to a four-year college? What do you tell them to convince them not to?
Yeah, and those are exactly the type of people that we work with. Look, the good news is the degree is dead. I'm not overstating that. It is a myth that you need a degree to start a career. Now, unless you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, or heaven forbid, a bureaucrat or a professor, you don't need a degree. And the best and brightest are realizing this, and they're getting started in their career now. And if you're sitting in the classroom, you're not giving yourself, you're going to get left behind, frankly.
Yes.
So, you know, we can point to the hundreds of people that we've worked with, and we've placed them in apprenticeships, and they've gone on to get great jobs. Many of those jobs, by the way, if you just look at a job posting, they will say degree required. But it's actually not true. Employers just want to know that you're going to create value for them. And there are so many ways that you can prove that better than just that dead piece of paper.
One of the things employers want is an assurance that someone has vetted you and that you're smart and that you kind of have your act together, that you have high aptitude but also the capacity for achievement. Without a degree, how do you convince them of that?
Yeah, you know, it's funny that you mentioned that. A friend of mine who is a CEO, I just saw a tweet of his recently. He did a little poll, and he said this is not scientific, but this is very much in line with the hundreds of CEOs and hiring managers I've talked with. He said, would you, if you only knew this about someone, who would you rather hire? Someone who would run a marathon or someone with a degree? 85% said the person who would run a marathon. That's just one example, but that's one of those things that, you know, it signals a lot of things at once. So look, you can go out and create projects and say, hey, I built this, I did this. You can start offering to do some projects, do some work for free. You can go and build up kind of a portfolio that showcases some of your skills and interests. Figure out what you're interested in, build some actual skills, and start working on things. And if you just think about for a minute, zoom out, if you were to enroll in college in the fall, 3 years from now, you'd still be in the classroom. If you were to go and this fall and do something like Praxis or something where you're going out, you're getting some work experience, you're building a body of work, in 3 years, you're going to have 3 years of professional experience under your belt. You're going to have so much more to leverage into a great job, a great career.
That's absolutely right. And there's a huge lobby of people whose job it is to lie to you and convince you otherwise, but it is a lie. So in the minute we have left, give us the pitch for Praxis. I'm an 18-year-old. I have decent grades, fine scores. I could get into a solid four-year college. Instead, I go to Praxis, and what happens then?
Yeah, so we're all about launching careers. And if you don't want that, if you want a debt-fueled drinking party that your parents will be proud of, go to college, by all means. Yeah. If you want to launch your career, you're going to need more than that. You're going to have to quit playing around and get out and do some real work. And we have a boot camp, a professional boot camp, where we put you through just really identifying your skills and doing real projects and things, as I mentioned, to kind of signal, to prove, hey, I built this, I can do this. And then we place you with startups where you're doing a paid 6-month apprenticeship on site, and you're learning from entrepreneurs, and you walk away at the end of the program. Almost all of our grads, 96% of them, get a full-time job at the end. So, I mean, that's what we do at Praxis, and I think it's just the beginning of this revolution.
Man, I want to force my kids to do that. Isaac, thank you. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Tucker.
And truly,
likewise.
I hope that you and others offer an alternative to a system that is broken and collapsing, in my view. So,
absolutely.
Good job.